it's Christina, and I am here with the one and only Joey Fatone. How are you?
Good, I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I like your jacket.
You know,
so
I try to
snazzy.
clean up when you become a game show host.
Yes.
There's certain rules and regulations. There's a game show host code. There's a boy band code, and there's a game show host code.
Okay.
I'm fitting those guidelines to host for right now.
So speaking of a game show host, you are hosting this new show, The Common Knowledge, on the Game Show Network, and it premieres tonight.
Yes, tonight.
Very
5:30.
exciting.
Woo!
Yeah. So tell us all about this.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's basically I'm the host. That's right. 2 teams of 3. They actually balloted out for a chance to win $10,000. And the cool thing about it is it's everyday questions that everybody should know.
Sure.
And it's always that key word of should.
Should.
And it's always highly entertaining to see what answers they're going to come up, because it's usually a lot of it's multiple choice, but when they pick it, we always ask them why. And a lot of times those answers out of their mouths are pretty darn funny.
Yeah, no, I got to a sneak peek of the first episode, and some of the things, like, I'm like, I should know this, but I don't. I have no idea.
It's one of those things, and the great thing about it is the show that's great. Any age can pretty much watch it. Obviously, if they're going to be a little baby, they won't understand it. But even at an early age, these are a lot of everyday hacks that you can use for your life throughout the day.
And it's broken up into different categories, too, so the contestants can pick which category.
There's all different categories, from America, U.S. institutions, to lifestyle, to health, to recreation, so it's everything.
Yes, Sarah is asking, do you see yourself as a Alex Trebek or a Pat Sajak?
Probably more of a Pat Sajak.
Okay.
Because Alex Trebek is always, I love Alex Trebek, don't get me wrong, but it's always funny to watch him when he does Jeopardy, because he's like, they give him what is, Tupperware, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Like as if he knew the answer.
Right.
Come on, dude, really, bro? You didn't know the answer.
I would love to see him on the other side.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I would be absolutely terrible, I'm sure.
You?
But I think, because Alex is more obviously good because it is a very serious kind of thing. There's very serious questions and political and stuff like that. I think with Pat Sajak, of course, and even myself, it's fun. You're picking letters. You're trying to find out a word. It's not rocket science, as they say. So it's that kind of thing where I like to have fun and like to play around a lot. So it's crazy because there's not a lot of play time to play around, because there's a lot of game time to get done.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Did you watch any other game show hosts to get kind of tips and tricks?
Not so much tips and tricks, but I mean, as far as you just over the years of just watching them.
Yeah.
You watch how they deliver things. You watch how they express and slow things down to keep the anticipation going. It's that kind of things on how to deliver certain things. And I think that's from watching Bob Barker, from watching even Drew Carey, Alex Trebek, Mark. Wink, Martindale, those people, to really watch those professionals at it and watch it is a craft.
Yeah.
It's something that I guess you're somewhat times born with. I mean, like with Pat Sajak, he was a weatherman, but he was always cracking jokes and making funny stuff, which I never even knew that until later on in life. I was like, oh my gosh, he was a weatherman, and he did not want to do Wheel of Fortune.
Really?
He did not want to do it, and then he finally said yes.
I had no idea.
Crazy, yeah.
It's common
It's a
knowledge.
documentary. It's a documentary I watched actually about game show hosts. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Was this harder or easier than you thought it was going to be?
It's definitely harder.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be hard, but it was harder because we're shooting 6 shows a day. Majority of the time, we did about 65 episodes in about 3 weeks. It's a lot of reading prompter, a lot of questions, a lot of answers. On top of that, I'm hearing 2 people in my ear to make sure that we're not going over time or under time, making sure that they're yelling at me in the right answer once everything is locked in, because I really don't really know the answers. And that's what's also fun about the game, is I get to chime in and have fun with it as well. So as they're learning, a lot of times I am as well.
Oh, I'm sure. It's got to be very tough. There's so many moving parts going on.
A lot of moving parts, and I was saying earlier, the words on the prompter become mush. It just becomes like, it's weird how my brain works, and you're reading and your inflections and stuff, but then all of a sudden around the 6th show of the day, you've been doing it for about 8 hours long, and you're like, okay, my brain's not working now.
Yeah.
I need a break.
Have there been some contestant answers that have completely surprised you and are like, really, you don't know that?
It just, it's one of those things, because we do the first 3 it's the first 2 rounds are multiple choice. The 3rd round actually is a write-in answer.
Yeah.
So people have to write in. So there is that factor, and sometimes you're kind of like, okay, or there's certain ones that honestly I don't even know, and then they get the answer right. I'm like, where did you? How did you know that? Yeah. And a lot of times it is like literally they're like, well, I read it in a book somewhere, or they'll say my mom told me, or I saw it in a movie once.
Sure, yeah. Did you practice this on your family at all? Did you practice any of the questions and things like that?
A few times I practiced 1 or 2 of them, but it's always interesting, and the most amazing thing about that is everyone is always definitely involved. They get sucked in. You can't help it because you're like, oh, I know that answer. That's this, and you're like, really? Do you really know the answer? And then somebody else will chime in and say, well, my mom told me, and the other person, well, I read a book, and then they find out which one is right. And the beautiful part about that is when we do get it right or wrong, we prove it out.
Definitely.
We explain exactly why or how we got that information.
Yeah. Will your kids be watching, and is this good for kids?
They better be, and it's, again, like I said earlier, it's a show for all ages, actually.
Yeah.
There's no craziness, funny business. It's a lot of fun. Maybe I'm sure one or two jokes that go over the kid's head, but it's nothing racy at all. It's a lot of fun, and again, you learn so much about, you know, constitutions. You know about geography. You'll learn about, for instance, if you get a burn, you know what's the best and safest thing to do if you have stuff around your house. Is it either honey, butter, or ice cubes? There's another question. Do you know which one that is? If you get a burn,
no.
To soothe it,
honey, butter,
or ice cubes. You're right. Good job.
Thank you.
Honey is correct.
Thank you.
Because the butter would melt and be all sticky, nasty, and burn. The ice would actually freeze it, possibly, if you cut it yourself. Yeah.
Oh, it was a wild guess.
There you go.
There you go. Did your family get to visit you on set?
They didn't.
Yeah,
they were home. Yeah, they're in Florida, though. They live. My kids
Okay.
are in Florida, so they were in school, so they weren't able to see me. But if people watch, if people love it, if people enjoy it, which I know you will, make sure you check it out, because then we'll hopefully do it a second season. So
Definitely.
fingers crossed.
Do your kids realize the magnitude of your career and what you've done?
My older one has.
She's what? 18
She's
or
17.
19,
She's 17 years old. She's going to be graduating high school this year, which
Nice.
is crazy to say.
Yeah.
Going to college, which is even
That's
crazier.
so exciting.
Yeah, it's weird. But she, you know, for a while, she always thought, okay, yeah, Dad, you're a dork. You know, now she's a little bit older. She sees, accepted. I'm still a dork, but yet there are perks to being a dork, because she can probably do a meet and greet with somebody. Like, for instance, you know, back in the day when, you know, Jonas Brothers were big for her, we went backstage and said hi to him because Daddy knows him. So the same thing with my little one. My little one is more, I think my little one's going to be more of the entertainer. My older one loves archery and into forensic pathologies, which she's going to be,
that's so cool.
wants to study in school.
Yeah.
My little one is the singer, the crazy one. She's the one that's probably more like me than anything. And it's funny for her because she thinks it's cool, though. She does. She's always like, oh yeah, you know my dad. Every once in a while, like, my dad's famous, and I'm like, well, you know, Daddy is just Daddy.
Sure, yeah.
He just has a cool job. That's the way I said to my older one. The same way. It's like, hey, Daddy just has a job, just like everybody else. He goes to work and he comes home.
Yeah.
I have just a little bit more of the luxury in the sense of I can stay home all day with you for a week or two, and then I can work and bust my butt, you know, for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. Then you're filming 65 episodes.
Exactly. So like, I'll take the week off the next day, and I'll be able to hang out with my kids.
So your little one, she's definitely following in the musical
I don't say
footsteps?
definitely, but she definitely has the music bug. I don't know. She also talks about animals, though. She loves animals. Possibly want to be like a veterinarian, but who knows? Who knows?
Do they have a favorite Nsync song?
My little one no, it's a Space Cowboy.
Oh,
Space Cowboy is Chloe's. My older, and bye, I'm sure, but my older one, she hasn't told me which one she really likes. She keeps that quiet. Again, she's older. She's too cool for that stuff.
She's too cool for it.
Way too cool for that stuff.
Yes, totally. And I know it's so great. I know people talk to you all the time that it's so wonderful that you guys are still so close and get together and, you know, have those mini reunions. When you guys do get together, do you reminisce or ever sing together?
We just bust each other's chops.
Do you?
We haven't really sung together per se.
Yeah.
But we always it just goes back to just clowning on each other. It's constantly ragging, constantly busting each other's chops. And I think it's even worse now because we have more ammunition for everything, for everyone for that matter.
Yeah.
So, but it's always fun. You know, again, we're on a group text and we've done a lot of stuff with merchandise. We have a merchandise, a bunch of stuff out there. Like we have T-shirts and we did wine glasses now. Obviously, we're older. We're trying to be not sophisticated. Because I think there's so many other people out there that are doing this nostalgia stuff. Why not us?
Right.
You know, why not? But it's always that factor. Everybody always asks the question, will we get back together? Is that ever going to happen? I say never, but you never know.
Yeah.
But again, I know that it's not happening right now at all.
Of course, yeah.
So we'll set the record straight, people. As you know, it's not happening because everybody's doing their own thing. So we've never really actually asked the actual question.
Yeah.
Really haven't, yeah.
What's going on in the group chat? I need to know more about the Nsync group chat.
Sometimes it's about the merch stuff. Sometimes it's, hey, you know, look at my kid. You know, Chris just had a kid not too long ago, Nash, which is adorable. He's so freaking cute. Obviously, same thing with Justin. You know, he's got his boy. And it's interesting to see the dynamics of that and then see the videos of all that stuff. And then we'll send pictures. And be like, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. And I'm like, yeah, look at my big kid. She's 17. You know, they're just really starting their kids. I'm like, I'm ending one, and the other one, I still got another 18-year sentence to my life, basically. But it's a good 18 years.
Definitely. I saw this picture of you a couple months ago with George Clooney, which I thought was so cool.
Oh, my gosh.
What was that like?
The George Clooney, yeah, there it is. George Clooney picture. I looked up to him and I said, bro, I I've never met anybody like a celebrity that I'm a big fan of. This is the first time I'm meeting you. This is not the first initial thought that I would have in my mind that I'm wearing a dress and a wig. And he was like, dude, it's okay. You know, we're here. It's a Halloween party, so have fun. I mean, he was really cool. He's one of those guys when people say, you know, what is he like when you meet him or whatever. The dude's a stud. He is. He's just a freaking. You want to punch him. That's how cool he is. You just want to go. You're exactly. You're a jerk that you're that cool. But he's just the very nicest guy. I mean, he's just well-rounded. He's not like that type of thing. You know, I even said I was kind of. And I know how it is when somebody wants to go up to a celebrity and say hello. Sure. And I didn't want to be that person. So I like kind of walked by it, and all of a sudden, one of the guys that I know that does photography was like, "Hey, you might get to take a picture." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "This is the time to say hi." Hi. And he's like, "Hey, Joey, nice to meet you." So he even knew my name. I was like,
wow.
All right, cool.
Was he an Nsync fan?
I don't know. I didn't ask him about that. Like, dude, you know.
I liked your costumes too.
Yes, that was the Shining.
Yeah, very cool.
We try to, you know, have fun with it, and definitely. Every year I try to do different things, and that was one. And then I do other stuff with my kids as well. Where we were dressed up as. This year I wasn't there because I was actually working on Common Knowledge. I was shooting a show. My kids got dressed up as what was it now? Scooby Doo. Oh, I was supposed to be Fred, but I obviously was working. So that was the first time I ever missed Halloween.
Aw, that's okay.
Try to do it again, I promise.
Speaking of costumes, a lot of people are speculating that you are the rabbit on The Masked Singer.
Ooh. Well, I'm here to set the record straight, people. No, my Twitter was blowing up beyond belief. People were going absolutely crazy going, "Are you the rabbit?" I'm like, what are you talking about? First of all, let's go there, because honestly, I've been doing press for this. I've been running around, so I haven't seen anything. And then I saw bits and pieces and clips, of course, because Twitter was sending me everything. So I don't even have to watch the show. So I started watching a little bit. It's really funny. I'm not the rabbit. I said, I wanted to be a judge. I said, that show looks awesome. Like, why wasn't I called? So whoever's doing the show, people, call me up because I want to be a judge. Because it looks really funny.
So you were not the rabbit. Oh, wow. We watched the clips and we're convinced.
I don't know. I saw clips. I was like, wow, that's interesting. You know, and I don't know. And again, I don't know who anybody is either. So I'm still skeptical about the whole thing. I thought it was really cool. Like I said, I watched bits and pieces of it, and I saw what was it? Was it a pineapple or something or whatever? It was one of the guys from Cheech and Chong.
Yes,
which is cool.
I know. So a lot of people are saying Donnie Wahlberg is the rabbit as well. So it could be.
Could be. That'd be cool though, because Jenny's on the show, right? Is she on it? Oh, that's hilarious.
It would be weird if she didn't know it then.
That would be amazing if that happened.
Amazing. So since you're here, I want to take, and people are so obsessed with nostalgia, I want to take a little look back at the 90s, if that's okay with you.
Sure, let's do it.
I promise. What is the one moment from Nsync that you would want to live over and over again?
The moment that I want to live over and over again? None of it. No, I'm kidding. Gosh, that's tough, you know, because there's a lot of great moments, honestly, throughout Nsync's career, in the sense of what we did. One dates back, of course, when doing the performance with Michael Jackson at the MTV Awards. Another one was doing Super Bowl. You know, Super Bowl was the first year that MTV ever did the Super Bowl, and it was the first year that it had fans run on the field. They do that now all the time. Now, every time when they get a chance, they throw everybody on there. Gosh, I think, and one of the main ones I think for me that stuck together is the first time we ever sang together. The first time we actually did an a cappella song together, which was the Star Spangled Banner. And another song called I Thought She Knew was one of the first a cappella songs we learned. So doing those things, I think, really stands out. It was just like, wow, we have a sound. You know, it was that thought. And then obviously going forward, of course, there's many. I mean, we sang with Celine Dion. We've did stuff on the Tarzan soundtrack with Phil Collins. You know, you kind of name a lot of the things that we've done. We've probably done it. You know, being on The Simpsons. You know, stuff like that. So it was exciting. It's funny and interesting to see the longevity of it. And meanwhile, I know it sounds so cheesy, but in a sense of I'm still getting started. I'm in my I'm turning 42 this month. I mean, yeah, that's old for most people, but in work years, it's still early. So, you know, I have the rest of my career to kind of have fun and see where the road takes me, and Common Knowledge is one of them.
Sure. Does that time in your life almost seem like a blur? Because it's sometimes when I ask people that were in boy bands, it just seems like it just went by so fast.
It does and it doesn't. I think because right around the time towards the end of where we were doing because we went from a stadium tour, the Pop Odyssey tour, to an arena tour. That whole time is when I had my first child, Brianna. So all of that took a different perspective from me. Because it was almost like, okay, now I have a kid. Now I got more responsibilities. Wait a minute. I'm still, in my mind, even though I'm 23 at that time, I'm still thinking I'm 17, 18 years old, because not that my maturity level stopped, but still hanging out with my buddies, and we're doing music and things that we love. It didn't feel like work. So that way, it just felt like this big. It was like my college years. I like to describe it as that. So it's kind of a weird thing that certain things are definitely a blur. Like Lance would, or somebody would be like, "Oh, remember that time?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
nope.
I know I wasn't drunk. I don't do drugs. I was like, I'm confused. Or sometimes vice versa. Oh, you remember that time? Oh my! And I'm like, come on, dude, you were there. It's like, I don't remember.
I don't remember. Like, there's a lot of living in those couple years.
There was a lot of things that went on. I actually found a piece of paper that had Lance's autograph, and I still have it to this day, and I haunt him with it every day. He was so wasted one time when we were out, and he got so drunk that he was hungover the next morning, and we had to catch a flight, and we were on a flight going on a plane. And before that, he's just like sitting in a chair. I was like, hey, I said, a fan wants you to sign this. He was like, okay. And he signed it and handed it to me. It was actually just for me. I dated it and made sure this was Lance. It is a horrible signature because he was so drunk he couldn't even write on it.
That's amazing.
Good times.
Good times.
A lot more stories like that, but I'll save that for a book.
I love that. That's great. Was there really like battle of the boy bands back in the day?
No, and you know what's so funny? They kind of kept us distant from us to even talk about whether if there was a rivalry or not. But really, believe it or not, it was more or less of the way that even because our managers were the same manager. At one point, our record company was the same record company. We were Jive, and then they left, and then we signed with. Oh no, we were with RCA, then we signed with Jive, which they were on. And it was interesting because I've known the guys from Orlando. We all kind of knew each other some way. I knew AJ, especially without and there was never like a rivalry. No. Never really was, but it was always like, damn, they got to do that. Man, I want to do that.
Was there ever like a Backstreet song that you wish you recorded?
No.
No.
But there's a lot of great songs that they do have. I mean, I Want It That Way is a jam. I don't mind saying it. I mean, and it was really cool. Like, there was one time, I wish somebody definitely has a video somewhere. Me and Howie, I think, are singing I Want It That Way in Montana when we were shooting a film for Sci-Fi called Dead 7. Right. Dead 7 was a show, and it was really fun because that was actually a time where all of us, kind of a bunch of the boy banders, kind of sat down, and we all kind of knew each other some way, shape, or form. And the funniest part was when all of a sudden, literally, Howie sat with me and goes, so how really did you guys get together? Like, I want to tell me like the real, like, I hear everything, and it was funny that we were just sitting there around talking about old times, and it's just how everybody just had all these people involved, and we kind of knew everyone, and there was no really animosity.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my God, I wish it could be a fly on a wall in that room.
Oh, the stories.
The stories. Do you have a least favorite Nsync song?
Yeah, Riddle.
Riddle? How come?
Exactly, like what? It was the first album that was on the European album, because there was a lot of dance and kind of techno songs. So it was like, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. That and I Need Love. Riddle and I Need Love. It's just all coming back to me. Burn those songs. Whoever wrote them, I love you, but Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. And lastly, you guys went on tour with Britney Spears. What was your first impression of her?
She opened up for us, by the way.
Right, right.
Sorry, let's get that right, people. Before Britney was Britney, we helped that. No, she was just like anything at those times. Yeah. We were young. We were kids. You know, literally, I was, what, 17, 18 years old. Justin was 14. Brittany was 14. JC was, Chris was the oldest. He was 24. Right. So it was a 10-year age gap between Justin and Chris. And me, Lance was obviously the second youngest, and then me, JC, and then Chris. But it was, you know, they were just kids, man. We were just having fun, hanging out. That's one of the weirdest things you really think about. It's like when you see, like now when I see younger kids and younger generation, I'm like, what do they know? And I'm thinking to myself, I was that punk ass kid. I was that kid when, you know, whoever, at the time saw us, like New Kids on the Block, when they probably saw us, they were probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah, totally. I was asking, what's more iconic, Bye Bye Bye, the Bye 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 dance or the Everybody dance?
Bye 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 dance, definitely, because everybody only knows that one thing from everybody, and everybody at least knows like the whole neck thing and the whole thing. So I would honestly say Bye Bye Bye, not because I was in the song, because obviously if it was everybody, I'd get props, but it's not.
It's not. Well, we are so excited for your new show. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Premieres tonight on the Game Show Network at 5:30 p.m.
Yep.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much.